Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw. Well, okay, so my strengths don't lie in photography. So I guess it's breaking a little from the mold of this podcast a little today. But what I've brought along to share with you is 4 charts or 4 visualizations, I guess, from my book, which I published last year, called Climate Change and the Road to Net Zero, which I think tell the story of the whole book. And so I'm sort of trained as a scientist originally, and following that, spent 10 years as an investment banker. So data is incredibly important to me. And sort of every statement that I make in the book is backed up by facts and figures and references. But I also know that many people aren't particularly turned on by data or boring facts and figures and charts as they see it, which is why I think sort of data visualizations and engaging writing are as equally important as the sort of data and the analytics. And I think that's that in a way is kind of a form of photography. It's sort of capturing the essence of what you're seeing or what you want to say in one image. And I think that's particularly important for the topic that we're going to discuss today, which is climate change and getting to net zero across the world, which is it's a very complex and overwhelming subject and there's lots of misinformation out there. So being able to present and show people in a simple way what you want to explain or say, I think is incredibly important. You could be the best scientist in the world, but if nobody's listening to you, then there's kind of no point, right? So it's all about engaging the audience, and just as a great photo captures that essence and translates it to the audience, so I want the visualizations in my book to take that data, take that information, and tell a simple story to the reader. So I'm hoping we dig into those charts today.
Mathew, Hampshire. Okay, how do I say your? Okay, I can say Mathew is fine. Hampshire Waugh, is that right? Right, Hampshire Waugh.
Hampshire Waugh, yeah, that's
Hampshire
the one.
Waugh.
Double barrel.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I'll do some Hampshire Waugh.
Terrible.
Mathew. Okay. Boom. Okay, so Mathew, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's called Shooting It Raw, so it's raw. It's whatever we think, and in a way, like, there's a format which is good to follow, but I like the fact that I think I went back to you a couple of times saying, well, you have listened to the podcast. You're like, yeah, I know. But I want to send these graphics. I'm like, yeah, but, okay, sure, why not? Let's just do it. Yes.
If I'd sent you my photography, given the skills that I have, I don't think you would have had me on the podcast.
Hey, you know what? Here's actually a very good point, and you touched on it. It's kind of like, okay, so the photograph is it's a record, ultimately, of wavelengths. So it's a digital or it's a film record of either light hitting either a sensor or hitting like photo emulsion. And there's no such thing as black and white. There's no such thing as red and green. There's just what our brains interpret as that. And if we pull back even more, we have signifiers and signified. So an image is a signifier. And so maybe a photo of a landscape signifies, romance or whatever it is. But in this case, you sent me 3 charts and the cover of your book, which we're going to dive into. And I love it. I like, why aren't these, you know what? This fits the format. This is great. I love it.
I'll bend the rules a little bit.
Of course. I hope so. So what if life really is a gift? How do we make each second count? If I can get 1,000 subscribers, I will eat a whole Carolina Reaper and you will get to laugh about it. Thanks.
Shooting it raw?
Yes.